So this is a quick tutorial on how to, for instance, resample a file. So first of all, I've created this flow in SympathyForData. It's just standard building blocks. So we need to configure our data source. So for instance, here we have a file. So let's just select some file here. Let's take a small one. See it like that as an example. And then we open. Terribly sorry if you can't see it. So here, so we just select some file. And we press OK, and we execute the data source, and then we can open it, and then we see that it has identified the file. So then we run the table, and at the table exit, we can then open it, and then we can see that it has read something here. So it's read a bunch of times and whatnot, so that looks all fine. If you have a file with multiple tabs, you could actually, in the settings for the table, you could tell it where the headers are, so it's where it's supposed to start to read. If there is some specific worksheet it's supposed to import, etc., etc. I mean, this also works for other file sources than Excel. I mean, you can have CSV, HTML5, Maths, SQL, whatever. But in this case, the data came as a table. Then we go to the next step, and the select columns is basically just select some columns that we want to use, and then remove all the others, because that's just the same axis again as this one, so I can't be bothered importing all that. Then we restructure this into an ADAF, which is a structure that SympathyForData uses, and we put it into the time series of the ADAF. That's we do by configuring this block and telling it where it's supposed to input the tables. I mean, otherwise it might actually put it into meter or into the result. So ADAFs can be structured in three sets: one meter, one result, and one time series. And then we interpolate ADAFs here. So if we configure this, we put the time step here, and if we were to say look into the table, and then we see here, for instance, that okay, so our time step is actually 12 seconds, and we say, oh no, I mean, we want to have it to say 100 hertz, right? So for 100 hertz, you would need to have a time step of 0.01 seconds. And then you choose your interpolation method. There are some you can choose here, and the signals, you tell which signals you should resample, if it just should resample all. In our case, we resample all, so we resample this, and out comes then a set of data, which then is resampled to the 100 hertz signal. Then we again open up that app, put it into tables. That's just a intermediate step to get it exportable, and we tell it what group it should output from here, and in our case it's time series. And then we configure our output here, and we tell it what it's supposed to be outputted as, and if we just say should do, I don't know, I don't remember what file we had, but has resample, for instance. And then we go OK, and we double click this one. And when we double click this one, it will have output and exported and written a file with this name into the selected folder. Once you've done that, you can of course continue on and importing that in some other software. But this is basically how you were to take a set of data, input it into SympathyForData, and export it as something else.